Welcome, everybody, to the Mark with a Mic podcast. I am your host, Austin Hicks. And as always, I am the Mark and I have the mic. Today, we're going to be talking about a few things. The big one being Summerslam predictions for both night one and night two. Just talking about how the build has gone, what I do like, what I don't like about the build, and then we got a couple other things as well, such as the Motor City Machine Guns debuting in AEW finally after long speculation, but it finally did happen. And then TNA doing the most TNA thing I have personally ever seen, inviting a certain special somebody to come by and do their show. It went as well as you probably think it did. Um, just a couple updates. We have all of the social media platforms up. I'm on every single social media platform you can think of, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on all of them. Working to get on a couple more, but we're on the big ones as for now. And hopefully, this will be the first one available on Spotify and Apple. Because I know as a podcast, some people don't like to watch videos. They would rather just kind of put it on, go do something else, just have their phone in their pocket whatever whatever works for you. And I want to make that available for everybody. So we're gonna try and do that. The social media response has been pretty good so far. I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart, really. The support means more to me than I could ever explain. Whether it's a like, a comment, a share, a repost, even hell, even a view does so much, and I thank you dearly. Um, Now it's time to talk about wrestling. It's why we're all here. It's why you chose to be here. Took time out of your day to watch or listen, hopefully. So the Motor City Machine Guns are officially all elite. Uh, on Dynamite Wednesday, a lot of people were expecting it to be that was going to be the debut spot for the Motor City Machine Guns, but it didn't happen on Wednesday, so that kind of settled a little bit of doubt into everybody's head. Not mine, because like I've said before, I didn't really see them going anywhere else. I thought it would be Dynamite instead of Collision, because I would like to assume more people just watch Dynamite than they do Collision. But with both Dynamite and Collision being in Detroit, and the crowd was super hot for both Dynamite and Collision. One of the better TV crowds I have seen in a very long time. And it didn't happen on Dynamite, but as soon as Collision started, uh, they came out, they made their entrance. They didn't do a whole lot. They didn't really have to do a whole lot, in my opinion. All they did was cut a promo. It was a very cookie cutter, I'm happy to be here type promo. They basically said how happy they were to be home in more ways than one, talking about Detroit and AEW, which, in my opinion, is really the home of the best tag team division there is. I mean, with the Motor City Machine Guns coming in, they can go with guys like FTR. The Young Bucks have a big history with them. The Bang Bang Gang, Jurassic Express, whenever Luchasaurus is ready to come back. I don't want to say they breathe new life into the division, because AEW's tag team division is strong already. But if you can add a team like the Motor City Machine Guns, it can only make your tag team division better. Uh, Now, what they actually do, we don't know. There wasn't an inkling of what they could do. There wasn't it was genuinely just a, hey, we signed. That was the promo right then and there. And that's fine. That's fine to do for a Detroit heavy crowd. But I would next week I would assume a more stable direction would be the way to go. I would honestly just have them wrestle next week. Wrestle, cut a promo. Uh, You can throw them against anybody. I think for All In, I don't know what FTR's status is. I don't know if they're just taking time off or if one of them is hurt. I have no idea. But if none of them are, then I think the natural match to make, if they're not going to be added into the Young Bucks and Christian and Copeland match, which, to be honest, after watching Dynamite on Wednesday, I don't really want the Motor City Machine Guns to be added into that match, because the segment that Christian and Cope and the Young Bucks did, I thought was very good. They basically were saying that, having these tag titles, it does a lot for our legacy, and we want to solidify that we're not only the best tag team of our generation, that they're the best tag team of this generation, the Young Bucks generation. While the Young Bucks basically said that those tag titles are our legacy, if they hold them again, they would be a 4-time AEW tag team champion, which would put them at number one all time as far as reigns go. I think they're tied with FTR right now. Which, yeah, I mean, there is no AEW tag team division without the Young Bucks. I mean, they're literally one of the few people that helped start this company at the end of the day. So it's a very interesting dynamic. I think the segment was very good. There's no animosity towards each other yet. There was a little plants and drops of eventual animosity, but as far as a starting segment and just kind of building up to what is being billed as a dream match, I think they did very well. But going back to Motor City Machine Guns, I think FTR would be the best match to make for them. But if a certain tag team that isn't signed yet is able to debut relatively soon, we could get the ball rolling to a match that honestly very realistically could have happened to WWE, but I don't think they ever did it. I don't know why. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, the New Day. Xavier Woods is going to go by Austin Creed, which is it's not his real name, but it's the name he went by for Up Up Down Down, his YouTube channel. Kofi is just going by Kofi. I believe Kofi is his legitimate first name, so he's just going to go by Kofi, I think. And they put out a video a couple days ago, because you know how it goes with WWE releases when somebody's 90 days are about up or they are free agents. They'll put out a video pretty much showing that they're ready to take bookings, or they're signing somewhere else, or they're just free from WWE in general. And the New Day put out a video. If you have not seen this video yet, I would urgently go watch that video. I can't recommend that video enough. It is perfect. It is probably the best WWE release video that I have seen. It's animated. It's masterfully animated. It's Kofi and Woods as two unicorns kind of breaking free of their chains. The circus leader, there's a legit name for who that was, but I can't think of it right now. It's very obviously resembling Triple H. But they break free. They zoom right past Triple H, showing that there's no animosity. There's nothing like that. They just want to do stuff on their own. And probably the most heartbreaking part of that video is the unicorns are running, and then they run past another unicorn, which is behind a cage. But he has a broken horn, signifying Big E. Which, if you don't know, you probably are aware. But Big E recently, as like a month or two ago, officially said that he's retired. He likes what he's doing now, doing the kickoff panels and just being an ambassador for WWE. But yeah, his in-ring career is, I don't want to say it's fully over, but it's pretty much over. And they shared a look with the broken unicorn. He just nodded his head, kind of signifying that go, go be your own people, go do whatever you want to do. It's heartbreaking. It's genuinely heartbreaking. I watched this video and I teared up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, because Big E should be with them. The New Day should have never been just a tag team. They should have always been a trio. Big E should still be wrestling today, and he's not. And that sucks. That's very unfortunate. It's sad. It kind of shows that wrestling can take everything away in a second. That's kind of the bad part about it. But they break free of this circus and now they're their own men. They're free. And it is a very, very, very good video. I cannot recommend watching this enough. Now, where do they go? I think it's no secret that they are probably going to AEW. I don't see them going anywhere else. I can see them doing some indies, but as far as actually signing with a major promotion, I think it's easy AEW. Now I bring up the New Day to circle back to the Motor City Machine Guns. If the New Day are signed by AEW by the time All In comes around, which All In's a month away, I believe they will be signed. It would be very hard to resist doing Motor City Machine Guns versus New Day at All In. I think that's a big match. That's a match that WWE never did for whatever reason. And I think it would help. It would help not only sell a lot of tickets, but it would also bring a lot of eyes to AEW, especially if that's Kofi and Creed's first match in AEW. I don't know if it will be. It all depends on whenever they sign, but that would be the match I would do, is Motor City Machine Guns versus the New Day. I do like Motor City Machine Guns versus FTR, but it all depends on what's going on with FTR. I don't think they're hurt. I think they're just taking time off. I would imagine Tony Khan would like to have them back before All In. Um, but who knows? I think that whatever you do, the Motor City Machine Guns in a high profile match on All In. And obviously, if you bring in the New Day, you also have to put them in a high profile match at All In. So why not just combine the two and have a dream match that WWE never did? Just once again, going back to the Motor City Machine Guns and AEW, this could not be anything other than a win for AEW. I think it's a great signing. The Motor City Machine Guns are one of the best tag teams of this generation. Since they've debuted 20 years ago, they have honestly carved a name for themselves as one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and I genuinely believe that. I do think it's a little funny that they debuted them on Collision, especially because Collision's was on a Thursday this week. I don't know why it got moved to Thursday. I think it's because of SummerSlam. They don't want to compete with SummerSlam, which is smart. But it's funny that they waited until a special Thursday episode instead of Dynamite, because Thursday, of course, they are competing with TNA. TNA and Collision ran at the same exact time as one another. And as soon as Collision started, they brought out the Motor City Machine Guns. A little bit petty on AEW's part, but it's wrestling. It's the spirit of competition. Competition brings great wrestling. It motivates people to do better, and At the end of the day, I think this is one of the best signings that AEW is going to end up making for this year, maybe in the next 5 years. Who knows? But yeah, great signing by AEW. All right, the next topic I wanted to talk about is a rather hilarious one. It is TNA wanting LeBron James to appear on their broadcast yesterday. So if you didn't see this, TNA put out a graphic of Jeff Hardy and Nick Nemeth, who is the current TNA World Champion. They're going to be having a match for the TNA World Title, and this graphic, this graphic is so fucking ridiculous. It's like the normal match card graphic, but then at the bottom, it has LeBron James's Philadelphia 76ers jersey. Now, yes, if you're not a part of the sports world, even if you're not, I feel like you would know this. LeBron James is a part of the 76ers now. And TNA just so happened to be in Philly yesterday. So they put out a tweet that said TNA Impact is officially sending out an invite to LeBron James to be the title holder for the match with Jeff Hardy and Nick Nemeth. They put out a big social media post about it. They're pretty much saying like, why not celebrate you being a member of the Sixers as when coming to the TNA show, being the title holder. And they were like, all right, LeBron, see you there. Now if you just had to guess, if LeBron James actually showed up to TNA last night and and wanted to be anywhere near this, honestly, no. The answer is no, because of course it was no. LeBron James did not appear on TNA Impact last night. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I said I would actually pay fairly good money to bet on LeBron James not even knowing TNA exists. Um, I think I have a better shot at successfully sliding into Sabrina Carpenter's DMs than LeBron ever showing up in TNA. We are talking about a guy who ghosted The Undertaker backstage while he was a part of the Cavaliers. Undertaker showed up in full gimmick. He wanted to take a picture with LeBron. LeBron didn't even step out of the locker room. um, LeBron, too, I would believe, is a little bit of a wrestling fan. Obviously, everybody I feel like has seen the video of him at a Monday Night Raw back in 2003. He had that picture of Stone Cold on his flip phone. And, you know, he's worn wrestling shirts in the past. He's at least at a base level a wrestling fan, at least a little bit, I would think. But this comes across as incredibly desperate by TNA. It comes off as kind of sad. The saddest part about it is this is not the first time that they've done this. I think last year for a pay-per-view, I don't know if it was Bound for Glory, but it was for a pay-per-view. I know that they were in Detroit and they did the same thing, but it was for Eminem. They invited Eminem. They had an empty seat in the front row that they kept showing, saying that, oh, we extended the invite to Eminem. Hopefully he shows up. It would be, what a moment it would be. Eminem didn't show up. Like, why do this? It's just like when WWE brings in celebrities, you know the celebrity will be there because I assume that they have a commitment from said celebrity that they will be there. They're not going to throw up a graphic like, oh, hey, Jelly Roll may or may not be here, or Machine Gun Kelly might not be here to perform a concert. He might be, he might not be. Those are the first two that popped in my head. I don't know why, but they throw up this graphic. I know why they did it. It was to get eyeballs on it, but why do that? Like, it comes across as cheap. It comes across as sad. They didn't even take the time to Photoshop LeBron in a Sixers jersey. It was just his Sixers jersey. Like they pulled the picture from Fanatics and put it on their graphic. It's just laughable to me that they would think that LeBron James's first ever public appearance as a 76er would be at a TNA show. I assume he would want to do like a press conference or wait till media day or something else. Like he has better things to do with his time than to be at a TNA show that he probably doesn't even know is taking place. He doesn't even know it exists. And the craziest part about it all is the match that he was supposed to be the title holder for didn't even happen on this show. Jeff Hardy versus Nick Nemeth didn't even happen on this show. They came out, they did this I think they did a promo and a stare down, and then that was it. No match took place. I don't know what LeBron James was going to be the title holder for if no match was going to take place. I think it's hilarious. If the scenario was if they had a commitment from LeBron that they were going to do the match, but if not, then they weren't. I don't know. To not even do the match, but to not even do the match is hilarious to me because why would you even put the graphic up there? Because the graphic specifically says LeBron James will serve as the title holder for this match at Philly on the 30th of July. It's just TNA being the most TNA thing of all time. And I mean, they've had athletes show up to their shows before. You know, famously, Adam Pac-Man Jones was a TNA World Tag Team Champion with Ron the Truth Killings, Team Pac-Man. They've had Tito Ortiz a couple times. They've had Rampage Jackson, King Mo. It's mostly MMA fighters because in that era, Spike TV was like the MMA channel, all pretty much, and they would send like UFC guys, they would send Bellator guys to TNA to try and pop ratings. It 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 would almost never work, but they tried. And that's how I feel about this is you can't blame TNA for trying. Shooters got to shoot. You miss 100% of shots you don't take, but if the shot was so out there and the shot was a massive fucking airball, why even post that graphic? Why? I know why, but still why? It's just you can get people talking, but not that way. Just have TNA management being like, "Oh, we sent an invite to LeBron." Don't make a whole ass graphic for it. I mean, that's a little ridiculous to me. It was just something silly I wanted to talk about. It's TNA being TNA. It's the most LOL TNA thing you could ever think of. It's hilarious. It's sad. Uh Kind of like TNA's existence for most of their lifespan, uh, unfortunately. All right, now the moment we have all been waiting for, the moment why you probably clicked onto this video or started listening. SummerSlam predictions. SummerSlam 2026 is taking place on August 1st and August 2nd at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This might be the second year in a row SummerSlam has been 2 days. I'm not too crazy about SummerSlam being 2 days. They can hardly even do WrestleMania 2 days correctly. I think the only pay-per-view that would even warrant a 2-day thing would be the Royal Rumble because you can at least space out the two Royal Rumbles. But for SummerSlam, I don't I don't see a need for it. Also, SummerSlam being a stadium show, I'm not too crazy about either. I think WWE runs too many stadiums. Sometimes they can make it work and it looks great. Other times, they're basically presenting a weekly show inside of a 50, 60,000 seat stadium. It's weird to me. I get it. You want to sell tickets, but I don't know what this is trending ticket sales wise. I would like to think it's doing pretty well because this card on paper is not actually all that bad. They have big names. The build to this pay-per-view hasn't been the best in my opinion, but that's usually how it goes with WWE, right? It's just the build isn't all that good, but at the end of the day, when the pay per view is actually taking place, it ends up being a pretty good show. And I hope that's what we get here with SummerSlam. Starting with night one. I don't know if this is gonna open the show with the person who's in it. He's usually first, or he's the main event. And he's not gonna be the main event, so I assume this is going on first. We have Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi in a Hell in a Cell match. Now, how did we get here? It is very it's very odd. I don't know if we'll ever know the full story as to why we got here, but back at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar faced Obafemi and Oba beat him pretty convincingly. It made Oba look like $1 million. It put Oba over in the biggest way possible. And Brock Lesnar, after the match, took his gloves off, threw up the X to Paul Heyman to signify that this was a shoot. This was for real. And Brock Lesnar retired right then and there. He took his gloves off. He waved goodbye to the crowd. He was crying. Paul Heyman was crying. It genuinely looked like it was it. I've said on shows before that I don't know if this is it. It looked legit to me, but in the back of my mind, I didn't really expect it to be. Fast forward a month later, I think Brock comes back, excuse me, to set up a second match with Obafemi, and Brock Lesnar beat him. He shouldn't have, in my opinion. I still think the wrong person won that match. Yes, if you're gonna have Oba lose, you have Oba lose in the way that he did. He took like 8 F5s or some shit like that. But still he lost, and that's the wrong decision to me. Now, after this, Obafemi wins King of the Ring, which usually sets up a world title match at SummerSlam. The literal following Raw, he goes to Adam Pearce and he says, the title will always be there for me, but Brock Lesnar won't be. So he is forfeiting his world heavyweight title match to fight Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar said, I'll do it only if it's in Hell in a Cell. And we got here. And it's been largely the same as it has been with Brock and Oba. Build wise, you have a little bit of promos, you have pull aparts. The weigh-in segment on Raw, I think it was okay-ish. I don't know. I would have liked Brock and Oba to actually, they don't have to even touch each other, but they can at least have a stare down. You know what I mean? They can get in the cell. You can really sell the fact that these two men are built for Hell in a Cell. I mean, Brock has never lost in Hell in a Cell. This is Oba's first ever Hell in a Cell match, but he looks massive inside the cell. It looks like that match was made for him. But who do I think wins this match? I swear to God, it better be Obafemi. Obafemi should win this match, and then we promptly need to move on from this Brock Lesnar stuff. Do I think this is Brock Lesnar's last match? I'm 60-40 on it. 60% wants to tell me that, yes, this will indeed be Brock Lesnar's last match, because I don't know, because it's in Minneapolis. It's where he lived most of his life. He has emotional ties to Minneapolis. He went to school there. He dominated the collegiate wrestling level at Minnesota. Hell, when he even tried for the NFL, it was for the Vikings. So I think if there was there's not a better place for Brock Lesnar to retire than here. at SummerSlam. But with WrestleMania next year in 2027 being in Saudi Arabia, I don't know if they can resist not having Brock Lesnar on that show. I don't think Brock Lesnar would resist the payday of that show. So that's the other 40% in me is like, I don't know if this is it. I would like it to be, but I don't know if it will be. But that's for WrestleMania here at SummerSlam. Obafemi should and will probably win this match. But then again, it's Brock Lesnar. You never know. We've been here before, right? Where Brock Lesnar should lose. It makes sense for him to lose, but then he doesn't. I don't see that being the case here. I think Obafemi does end up winning this match. And then we can move on to actual main event level feuds for Obafemi. Getting him in there with Seth or Gunther, or Gunther's on SmackDown, he's on Raw, but just like Seth, the Bloodline. Sure, why not? I'm trying to think of the main event level people on Raw, but outside of like Seth and Roman, it's not a whole lot. You know what I mean? That's kind of sad, but I think the next logical step would be for Obafemi to get up into that world title picture. All right, next we have the Bella Twins and Paige versus the Fatal Influence. I understand that Nikki Bella had her WrestleMania moment taken away from her because she got hurt. I know I'm almost positive that the Bella Twins were supposed to win those women's tag titles on that show, but Nikki Bella got hurt and it led to a Paige return. Paige, I think Paige fits WWE a lot more than she does AEW. It's just something just wasn't clicking for her in AEW. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just how she wrestles. I don't know if it's her limitations in the ring. I don't know what it was, but putting them with the Fatal Influence, which I think they have been killing it since they've been on the main roster. I think JC Jane has the chance to be a main event player in the women's division. I really do. I think JC Jane's great. I think the Fatal Influence win this match. I don't really see a need for the Bellas and Paige to win this match, especially considering Fatal Influence just won the tag team titles. There's not really a big reason for them to lose outside of nostalgia, Total Divas. Shout out to all the people that watch Total Divas. John Cena was a goddamn psychopath on that show. I would watch Total Divas just to see all the crazy shit that John Cena would do in just his normal day-to-day life. But yeah, I have the Fatal Influence winning. And then the Bellas can probably turn on Paige. That's where I see this going. I think the Bella Twins are always better as heels. Paige, I think, is too popular to turn heel at the moment. I don't really want her to turn heel. Who knows? But the Fatal Influence will win this match. All right, next we have Gunther versus Nick Aldis. This is a match I am kind of interested in just to see how Nick Aldis is going to look. He hasn't wrestled in a few years. I assume he wrestled back in like 2022-ish, but I forget when he even signed with WWE. It's been a few years by this point. I actually think they've handled Nick Aldis very well, because I think if you just threw him out there immediately to the main roster and just had him wrestle and present him a certain way, and he goes out there as former NWA champion Nick Aldis, I think he would have been dead on arrival. I think he would have been he wouldn't have gotten reactions. It would have taken him a while to get accustomed to how WWE does things. And I don't think there's anybody better to put him in the ring with than Gunther. Gunther is fantastic. I don't have to tell you that. It's just I think this is the perfect way to introduce the wrestler Nick Aldis to the WWE crowd. If they just threw him out there as a wrestler at first, I think it's not like a AJ Styles situation where everyone knew who AJ Styles was, because AJ Styles, for the better part of 15 years by that point, was kind of like the face of alternative wrestling, whether it was TNA or Ring of Honor or New Japan. If you just watched wrestling in general, you had a pretty good idea of who AJ Styles was. You're not gonna have that with Nick Aldis because no one watches NWA. As shitty as that sounds, you more than likely don't even know that NWA still exists. They do in a very small capacity, but they're still around. And Nick Aldis, outside of his TNA run, his biggest claim to fame was wrestling Cody at All In. That was when he probably had the most eyeballs on him, I would say. And we're coming up on that being 8 years ago. It was, wow, dude, All In was 8 years ago. Fuck. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to see how this match is gonna go. This was one I was weighing back and forth on who would win. I don't know who would win this match. You can give it to either one of these guys, right? Because the crowd is very much behind Nick Aldis. If you watched the recent Saturday night's main event, when Nick Aldis costed Gunther and Sami Zayn the tag match, the crowd reacted to Aldis very well. They popped for him, they reacted huge for him, and whenever he does these pull apart brawls with Gunther, they go over pretty well with the crowd. They're reacting to Aldis well. Um, the crowd hates Gunther, as they should. He is being built up as the monster heel that he should be. I'm going to say Gunther wins this match, but it's going to be close. I think you give Nick Aldis a couple of hope spots to kind of like put over the fact that like he's not just a general manager. He was a wrestler and he was an accomplished one at some point. And you really need that to go over well to make this match work. But yeah, I think Gunther wins, and then he goes into a feud with whoever wins the main event between Punk and Cody. Because I don't know, like, where else would he go? You have a number one contenders match on night two, but unless they run that match right away, I think you put Gunther immediately back into the main event scene after this Nick Aldis match. What happens with Nick Aldis after this? I don't I don't know if I would put him back as a general manager, at least not right away. I think he showed that he has a future as a general manager, but as far as actually wrestling, I think you have Nick Aldis wrestle for quite a while after this. Maybe have him even be a full-time member of the roster. Who knows? But as far as this match goes, I have Gunther winning. Next up, we have the Bloodline, which is Jimmy and Jey Uso and Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo Sikoa. Royce Keys feels like has hardly been a part of this story because this is mostly a Monday Night Raw story. It's been mostly a LA Knight and the Usos and Jacob story. I think it adds an interesting dynamic with Solo being a part of it because he knows what it's like to be a part of the Bloodline. He knows what it's like to be kind of under that brainwashing of Roman. I think it would have been better just a team of Solo and the MFTs against the Bloodline, kind of as like a babyface Bloodline. But LA Knight's been a part of this Bloodline story longer than anybody, I feel like. So that's why I feel like they put him in it. They put him in this match, I should say. LA Knight eventually has to beat a member of the Bloodline, right? I mean, for the better part of this year, and even longer than that, LA Knight has been getting his ass kicked by the Bloodline. whether it was Solo's bloodline, whether it was Roman's original bloodline, whether it's this version of the bloodline. LA Knight has not gotten one up on this version of the bloodline yet. This has to change here. I think LA Knight and Royce Keys and Solo have to win this match, with LA Knight getting the pin. I really do, because if you don't, you already do more damage to LA Knight than you already have. It is a very, very, very strong testament to LA Knight that he is still getting the reactions that he is getting, even though he goes out there and loses pretty much every match he is in. I don't know who he pissed off or what he did to piss somebody off. It has to end. I'm sorry. It really does. I mean, LA Knight eventually has to win some of these matches for people to continue caring. I think they are running a very risky play here by just sending LA Knight there, and the crowd continues to push him into this spot that he's in. But he eventually has to start winning some of these matches. It's very odd to me. It's kind of like the Dolph Ziggler situation where he goes out there, he works his ass off, he gets over the way that they probably didn't expect him to get over, and he's getting punished for it. WWE can't stand it when you get yourself over on your own. Just ask Dolph Ziggler, just ask Zack Ryder, ask Rusev with the Rusev Day stuff, or Kurt Hawkins with the defeated streak that he went on. WWE doesn't like it when people do that, and LA Knight is the latest victim of that. I think with the bloodline, they can take a loss here. It's not going to hurt any of them. If anything, you would add another layer to the story. And I say that, but it would just kind of be recycling old stuff of Roman being like, I took care of my business. Why didn't you guys? But at the end of the day, LA Knight has to start winning some of these matches. That's just the end. That's just the end of the story. Royce Keys, I would like them to do more with. I would like him to kind of stay on SmackDown and be in that upper mid card tier for now until they build him up to the main event scene. And what Solo Sikoa is doing as a babyface, I think, is working out very well. I think he is a natural babyface. He is a naturally funny guy. I think the way that they were kind of putting him in as just this serious bloodline leader wasn't working. I think two ways to make Solo Sikoa work is how he was in the original bloodline, which was this silent killer that is only called upon when it's necessary, or what he's doing now, which is, he's kind of comic relief, but he can tell a pretty good story. But yeah, this pretty much all circles back, at least for me, it circles back to LA Knight. I think LA Knight needs a win here. So I'm going with the team of LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo Sikoa to win this match. All right, next we have Liv Morgan defending her WWE Women's World title against Io Sky. Liv Morgan, this is one of the weirdest situations I have ever seen. Liv Morgan won this title in April at WrestleMania. Just take a wild guess at how many times she has actually defended this title. Now, this is the main women's title on Raw. Liv Morgan is being presented as one of the bigger stars of the women's division. You would think that they would have her at least defend this title a few times. If you guessed 0, yes, I said that correctly, 0, you would be correct. Liv Morgan has been champion for over 100 days and has yet to defend this championship. You have Liv Morgan going on videos and podcasts and interviews saying that she's the greatest women's world champion of all time and she's so iconic that she doesn't have to defend that title. That is the biggest slap in the face I have ever heard. It is a disgrace. It is laughable that you cannot come up with something competent to have Liv Morgan do. I understand people get hurt. I understand things change. But if your only plan for Liv Morgan was to wrestle Stephanie Vaquer, it just don't have Liv Morgan win this title at all. She hasn't defended this title in 3 months, 4 months even. It is inexcusable what they have been doing to this women's division. I circle back to WrestleMania because when Cody Rhodes wrestled Randy Orton, they very obviously set up that this story wasn't done. And Randy Orton was going to keep going after Cody. He was going to continue chasing the championship. Randy Orton, depending on who you talk to, either got hurt or he wanted to take time off. He wanted to spend the summer with his kids, whatever the case may be. Randy Orton says, I'm out of here. What do? They immediately move Gunther to SmackDown because Cody needs somebody to wrestle. They didn't do that with Liv Morgan. They didn't do that with the top women's title on Raw. They've had Liv Morgan subjected to being a manager, cutting the most god-awful promos that I have ever heard. They don't even have her wrestle, even mostly on weekly TV. I get it. World titles usually don't get defended on TV, but to not even have her wrestle, defend it on PLEs, a random Raw here and there. They don't even have her defend it on live events because they don't even do live events all that much anymore. It is fucking laughable. It is disrespectful to Liv Morgan and what she has done and how she has built herself up. It is honestly disgusting that you would do this because you wouldn't do it for the men. So why the fuck are you doing it for the women? Why are you just letting Liv Morgan sit there, not defending her title, not giving a shit that she's not defending this title, and to have her be in a tournament to win the other title instead of coming up with a decent story for the title that she actually has is horrible. It is bad TV. It is inexcusable that you would do that. Yeah, I just don't understand. Who wins this match? EO, I guess. Like they have simply made me not care that much about the women's world title. It's a horrible thing to say. I understand that. But when I don't see this title defended for months on end, it's hard to care about it. It's hard to care about a champion that goes out there, cuts the same exact promo every week, has Raquel Rodriguez wrestle for her most of the time. Get this fucking title off of Liv Morgan and onto Io Sky so we can actually do something with this championship. I truly don't understand. I want the best for the women's division. I really do. And what's best for the women's division, I guess, is for Liv Morgan to not hold this title hostage. I don't know. And it's not Liv Morgan's fault, even though some of it is put on Liv Morgan, because I saw that clip on WWE Unreal where she's looking at Triple H and she says, "Oh, I made up some time for you. I've shaved a couple minutes off of our match to save us some time." You are the biggest women's wrestler on Raw. Stephanie Vaquer is hurt. The women's division is you. Why are you so worried about making up time when you need to go out there and actually put on a decent fucking performance? Because when she does wrestle, I'm not going to lie, her matches have been very bland. They have been very one-dimensional. They have followed the same formula for months on end. And this is, without a doubt, probably the worst women's title reign, I'll say, of all time. Since they brought back the women's championship. I'm not talking about the Divas. I'm not talking about anything before that. This is the worst reign of all time because at least the champions before her actually defended this belt. She needed to defend this belt for me to give a shit. And unfortunately, I don't. So let's move on. Let's give Io Sky this title and actually come up with something decent for her to do. I'm sorry. All right. Going into the night one main event, we have CM Punk defending the WWE Undisputed title against Cody Rhodes. Now, how we got here was a little bit weird. How we got here, I think, was pretty convoluted, if you ask me. I don't know why Cody Rhodes could have just walked into this match as WWE champion, considering who I have winning this match. Spoilers. So CM Punk was gone from wrestling. CM Punk was gone from TV until after the WrestleMania main event that he had with Roman. On the night after Raw, he it was either Cody interrupted him or he interrupted Cody, but it was pretty much CM Punk saying that you'll never know when a title opportunity falls out of the sky. Looking at Cody's title, pretty much selling up the fact that he is going to go after Cody at some point. Fast forward to Night of Champions. They had a triple threat match between Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and Gunther, and Sami Zayn wins. It is a shocking title change. No one expected it. It was very well done, in my opinion. And then we get word that Sami Zayn is going to defend the WWE title on Raw, which is a little odd to me considering it's a SmackDown title. And this has nothing to do with Raw, but Raw was in Chicago. Cody Rhodes gets taken out, and CM Punk returns and wins the WWE title off of Sami Zayn, only for Cody to get the SummerSlam match. Like I said, I don't know why Cody Rhodes had to lose the WWE title to get to this match. I really don't think he had to. I think you could have just had Punk win a number one contenders match or like a mini tournament of some sort. I get it. You wanted the shock title change with Sammy, and then you wanted to create a big moment of Raw in Chicago with Punk coming back. I get that, but we could have gotten to this match a million different ways that didn't have to involve Cody actually losing the belt. And the build between Punk and Cody, I think, has been very good. It's just two alpha males. It's two top guys wanting to know who's the better man. It started off as, respect, but, some animosity has came about. And I think what they have been doing has been pretty good. I think the promos have been pretty good. I think the backstage segments have been good. Punk kind of like flipping the belt and it hitting Cody taking it as a sign of disrespect. And then the backstage segment where they pretty much tell all the cameras to turn off, making it look like a real shoot, I think was very well done. And so yeah, I actually think this is one of the better matches that have been built. Who wins this match? I don't think they would have CM Punk win this title just for him to lose it fairly quickly back to Cody. I don't think Cody needs the championship right now. For the better part of 2 years, he has been champion outside of the John Cena run and then the little run that Drew McIntyre had. It's basically been all Cody Rhodes. I would like to see a little bit of a chase from Cody because Cody Rhodes is great at chasing the title. I think I would have CM Punk win this match. I know there has been talks of, someone's got to turn heel, right? I feel like every time Cody has a big match now, this is where, all the people come out and be like, oh, Cody Rhodes is going to turn heel. And there's been a lot of talk about it, especially for this one. And I will actually say, I think this one has a little bit of merit to it because if CM Punk is going to be on SmackDown for the foreseeable future, I think now would be the best time for Cody Rhodes to turn heel because he wouldn't have to be the number one babyface on SmackDown. It would be Punk. But, if Cody Rhodes were to turn heel, I mean, CM Punk doesn't really have much options after that. You know what I mean? He has Gunther. He has Sami Zayn. It's all matches we've seen before. Hell, even if Finn Balor depending on who wins the match between Balor and Sammy, CM Punk has wrestled these people. I don't think Cody needs the title right now. I'm picking CM Punk to win. I think I'm actually looking forward to this match because I feel like we have been kind of circling around this match for a while. Ever since both of these guys were in AEW, this has been a match people have been talking about. I'm surprised that they're doing it here. I assume because Mania's in Saudi, they wanted, the big American stadium show to have one of the bigger matches WWE can put on right now. Because if you were to make like a list of the top like 3 matches WWE can make right now, Cody and Punk would be one of them. I think at the end of the day, I think CM Punk does win and retain this title. I personally don't see a Cody Rhodes heel turn because I think they're too afraid to, honestly. If I'm wrong, awesome. I would like to see what this version of Cody would be as a heel, but I just don't see it. All right, going into night 2, we have Penta defending the Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable. I've liked this Penta title reign. I like that they've actually given him a title reign. The fact that he has actually been on Raw defending this title, pretty much wrestling every week. I think it's great. I think it's what the Intercontinental title should be. It should be the work rate title. And this is going to be a work rate match. I think this is going to be a fantastic match, actually, if given the right time. If there was ever a time to put this title on Chad Gable, I think it would be right here. And that's who I'm picking to win this match. I'm picking Chad Gable to win this match. He's from Minnesota. He he is doing the work. He's doing the run of a lifetime right now. I think after what he did in AAA and what he did for the El Grande Americano character, I think if you're not going to put him in the main event scene, which I think you should, you you at least should reward him with the winning the Intercontinental title in his hometown. He's been getting great reactions. Yeah, Penta has had a good run, but sometimes it's just not your night, and I think that's what we're getting with Chad Gable. I'm excited to see what a Chad Gable Intercontinental title run would look like. I honestly wouldn't mind him doing like an open challenge gimmick where he comes out, he defends the title every week, and like these super super tight and concise where it's just a sprint every single week. I think that would be great. I think that would help Chad get over even more than what he already is. But yeah, if now's not the time for Chad Gable, it unfortunately never will be. This is the appropriate time to give Gable something, and I think this is the something. I think winning the Intercontinental title is that something that they are going to give him. Uh, yeah, Chad Gable wins this match, I think. Next, we have Trick Williams defending the United States title against Baron Corbin. Yes, Baron Corbin returned to WWE a few weeks ago. To be honest with you, do they really need Baron Corbin on their roster? No, they don't, but he's back. I I'm a Baron Corbin defender to a point. I think his lone wolf character was fantastic. I actually very much enjoyed his work in NXT. Even his first little run in the main roster, I liked. But then they decided to ruin him forever by making him this Constable Corbin gimmick and the interim Raw GM. And it wasn't his fault, but it made Raw pretty unwatchable for a while. And then, he did the run with Braun Breaker, the Wolf Dogs, I think they were called. That was a pretty sick tag team. I don't think Baron Corbin was needed here. I think you had the perfect opportunity to run Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. I don't know if it's not happening here. I don't know when it's happening. I think Mania is too far away. It should have been done here. It's really that simple because Baron Corbin is not going to win this match. At least he shouldn't. I'm picking Trick Williams to win this match. I think Trick Williams is way too hot right now to take the title off. Maybe that's why they replaced Carmelo with Corbin, because they didn't want Carmelo taking a loss either. You put Baron Corbin in, Baron Corbin can take a loss. It's not a problem. Trick Williams, Trick Williams is on a pretty good run right now. I think he retains this title, and we move on to something else. I don't see this Baron Corbin story going on for much longer. I think SummerSlam is actually the end of it, and then whatever Baron Corbin does after that is whatever he does. I don't really care, but Trick Williams needs to retain the belt here. Next, we have Human Monies on a pole match. We have Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio. Yeah. So Danhausen is kind of a hot topic to talk about right now. I think you either think Danhausen is the best shit you've ever seen, or you think it's terrible. Now, I like Danhausen. I think Danhausen's very entertaining. I think he's very funny. When he is used correctly, I think it leads to very good TV. Do I need to see him in every other segment on Raw every week? I don't. I'm sorry. That segment with Joe Hendry on Raw with the concert is one of the worst Raw segments I have ever watched. It's not like damaging the Danhausen in any way. It's just sometimes shit don't work out, and that's just one of those times where it didn't work out. If this were a straight up one-on-one match, I would say that Dominic Mysterio almost can't lose. He shouldn't lose. But now that it's like a little fun, gimmicky match, Danhausen will get the win here, I think. Danhausen, say what you want about the guy, he is super, super over right now. He is one of the more popular acts in WWE at the moment. His shirt is one of the best sellers on the shop right now, and he gets good reactions everywhere he goes. Dominic, I don't like Dominic taking a loss here because you have Money in the Bank coming up, and Dominic is my winner for Money in the Bank. If he's in the match even, but if he is, I would pick Dominic to win. I also don't like him losing this match because he is the world champion of another company. He is the AAA world title holder. If you want to get AAA over, I don't think beating your world champion in a gimmick match, a hokey gimmick match like this would do it. But then again, it's AAA. That's a separate entity almost. And plus, the WWE general audience probably doesn't watch AAA. They only know it as just the company that WWE owns, and you see their belts defended every once in a while. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Danhausen to win this match. I would like for him to kind of move on from the Judgment Day after this because it feels like he's been feuding with the Judgment Day ever since he's been in WWE. I would just like for everybody to move on and do different stuff. In a perfect world, the Judgment Day would actually cease to exist because the Judgment Day sucks. I'm sorry. It has ran its course so much that it's doing absolutely nothing for nobody now. I actually think it would help out every single person individually if the Judgment Day disbanded. Especially Dominic. I think Dominic has the chance to be in the main event scene. I really do. Kind of the same way that Eddie was, as like, the shit-eating heel and the heel that always gets away with things, but he can hold his own in the ring. I think that can be Dominic. I really do. He's got to get out of this Judgment Day bullshit first, and I don't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately. Uh, I I would have Danhausen win this match. I feel like I'm shitting on Danhausen here, but I really do enjoy Danhausen in moments. I think they are starting to use him a little too much because he really doesn't need to be on every show, every other segment. I think he's even doing too much outside of wrestling. Like, I am seeing this guy everywhere, and it's cool that wrestling is getting this amount of eyeballs on it. It really is, but let's bring other people in with him instead of just Danhausen. Have him bounce off of somebody. Bring Joe Hendry with him. Do something, because it's really just the same. It's really just the same stuff. It's just like he's cursing sports teams, or he's cursing celebrities, or he's talking about how much the Judgment Day sucks, which I actually am in agreement with him over. But I think it's starting to become a little too much. We're starting to see a little bit too much of Danhausen. I think we're getting to that point. But I do think Danhausen does win this match, because it's not a normal match. If it was, I would pick Dominic, but since it's this human money's on a pole match, I think Danhausen does win. All right, next we have Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn, and the winner of this match will become the number one contender to the undisputed WWE title. I think this match has had a decent build. It is two guys that realistically have a legitimate reason to be the number one contender. Balor, since the CM Punk feud earlier in the year, has been, he's been saying that he got that feeling again. He feels like the old Finn Balor. It is the Finn Balor that should have never lost the Universal title back in 2016. And it's good that they are finally doing this with Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor is still great. I think he can still go out there and put on a fantastic match. The crowd still like him. It's not like, he's one of those guys that hung around too long and the crowd is starting to sour on. It's not like that. I think it's about time that they start doing this with Finn Balor. Now, on the other side of the coin with Sami Zayn, he's doing this last real good guy gimmick, which I think has been fantastic, honestly. Does he get a shot at the WWE title? Like, realistically speaking, does Sami Zayn fit in the WWE title scene right now? I think he does, but not like Gunther does, or Cody, or Punk. Say if Punk wins this match, I think you can do Punk and Sammy and like a kind of like how they did the Finn Balor feud earlier in the year, where it's a little bit of a mini feud, but we get good matches out of it. If Cody ends up beating Punk, I don't want to see Cody and Sammy. I'm good on that. But that doesn't matter, because I do have Finn Balor winning this match. I think it adds a little bit of spice into the SmackDown main event scene. It's a new face that we haven't seen in the main event scene for a while. It brings Finn Balor back up, which he is where he should be all along, in my opinion. And I think, you get to run matches that we really haven't. I don't think they've done Balor and Gunther. I don't think they have, at least not on like a bigger scale. So I think you would have Balor go against Gunther, and then you have him go against Punk again. Even do Balor and Cody. I think that would be good. It's about, like I've said before, it's about time Finn Balor gets back into the upper main event scene. And I think he does it with this match. I think Finn Balor does beat Sami Zayn. Next up, we have a 5-way ladder match for the interim, not the vacant, the interim WWE Women's Championship. This interim title came about because Rhea Ripley got hurt. And instead of having her vacate the title, they've introduced this interim title. I don't like the idea of interim titles. I think it's a lame idea. I don't understand why Rhea can't just challenge for the title when she gets back, instead of doing this like title for title stuff. I understand the UFC does it. I don't even like it when the UFC does it. I think interim titles are the dumbest shit ever, but that's just me. But we have Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton versus Chelsea Green versus Julia or Lash Legend. I'm recording this before Friday Night SmackDown. Actually, SmackDown is over. Let's see if I can find who actually won that match. If I had to guess, I would hope Lash Legend won this match. And she did. So it is Lash Legend. I think the winner is kind of obvious here. I know a lot of people are talking about Tiffany Stratton because she's from Minnesota. Um, I think she has cooled down an exceptional amount to the point where I don't think you can justify having the title on her. Same with Chelsea Green. I don't see Chelsea Green winning this match. I honestly think Charlotte Flair wins this match. I think she wins the interim belt. I think her being out of the title picture has gone on for a decent amount of time. She's really taken a step back and done this tag team with Alexa Bliss and put on the back burner recently. I think it's time to heat Charlotte back up. I think she is doing great work right now. I think doing a ladder match is a little weird considering Money in the Bank is about to happen. I think that's literally the next PLE that WWE is doing is Money in the Bank. So doing a ladder match here is a little weird. Me personally, I would have just ran Charlotte and Jade for the interim belt. But yeah, I have Charlotte winning this match. And then that sets up a big match between Charlotte and Rhea or Charlotte and Jade or whoever. But it's about, like I said with Balor, it kind of fits the Charlotte here. I think it's about time that she gets back into the title scene. I think she's been away from it for long enough to warrant her coming back and winning a fake women's title, pretty much. All right. And then the main event of night 2 and the main event of pretty much the whole show in general, it is Roman Reigns defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Seth Rollins. This match, I think it's a little late. I think this match should have honestly happened at WrestleMania. The fact that with what these two have gone through like in kayfabe, and this is only like the second or third singles match that they've ever had together, I think is kind of crazy. What I don't like about this build is that the crux of the issue between Roman and Seth is that Roman still can't forgive Seth for breaking up the Shield. Now, it is 2026. The Shield broke up 12 years ago. Yes, Seth Rollins took a chair to Dean Ambrose's back and Roman Reigns' back 12 years ago in 2014. I'm sorry. I love the Shield. The Shield are one of my favorite groups, stables, whatever you want to call it, ever. Genuinely. I love the Shield. I'm over it. I don't care about Shield lore in the big 2026. I think that it's lazy. I think it's crazy that these two don't have any other major issue other than Roman still has his feelings hurt that Seth broke the Shield up, especially when these two have done other things together. I mean, Seth is one of the reasons why Roman's record-breaking run ended. And I understand that the Shield was used for that, but this is way different. It was for Mania 40. Cody Rhodes needed all the help he could get because the bloodline was running rapid over WWE. So Seth Rollins was Cody Rhodes's Shield, and I think that worked great. I think it was an appropriate use of the Shield because it wasn't the main crux of the storyline. The main crux of this storyline is Roman Reigns can't forgive Seth from something he did 12 years ago. Even though both of these men have had stables by this point, they have had pretty much a whole other career by this point. I mean, these two guys are multiple world champions. They have held every title. They've main evented WrestleManias. It should be these are the two guys of a generation. Let's see who's better. Instead, it is, I can't forgive you for what you did to me 12 years ago. And I think that's boring. It's not creative. Yes, they have tried during this story to make it about other things, but when Seth is pouring his heart out about how much he wants to be the guy and he would kill to be in the spot that Roman is, just for Roman to say, I make more money than you do, I'm the bigger star than you. I don't have to wrestle as much as you. That is not entertaining television to me. That is not keeping me engaged. I want there to be another reason as to why these guys are fighting other than one dude is jealous and one dude has his feelings hurt. I mean, yes, wrestling is simple, but when every time these two are in a ring together, you force the shield down my fucking throat, I get a little irritated and I get a little bored. That's just how I am. As far as the match goes, I feel like the build gets thrown out the window when it comes to this match because whenever Roman and Seth actually do get in there and wrestle, it's always a great match. These two have great chemistry. I don't think I've ever had a bad match against one another, whether it was the tag team match for Mania 40 or the match with at Money in the Bank 2016. Even the match at Royal Rumble 2022 before the dumbass finish with the finger on the rope or the disqualification and shit like that. They were actually having a pretty good match before that. I think the match is going to be good. I do think Roman Reigns does retain. I think Roman Reigns is going to have this belt for at least a little while. I don't think he's going to go on this big run that he did back in the COVID era and into 2024. But I do think Roman's going to have this belt at least until WrestleMania. So I have Roman winning this match. What happens after this? I think Seth moves on to. I would like Obafemi. I would like a Seth and Obafemi feud. Other than that, I don't really see what other things Seth Rollins could do. As far as Roman goes, I know he's going to be sticking around for a little while, but then I don't. The next time he wrestles probably won't be until Money in the Bank. What he does at Money in the Bank is yet to be revealed. It probably won't be for a while. Um, could it be LA Knight if he wins here? Maybe. Who knows? But yes, I do have Roman Reigns closing the show, still World Heavyweight Champion. That is my SummerSlam predictions, and that will just about do it for this show. We talked about a lot of stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. Look out for the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Your support on those platforms genuinely does mean the world to me. I can't thank you enough. Like the video, subscribe if you want to. Wow, that's my first time ever saying that, and that genuinely made me feel weird. I gotta get. I never thought I'd like be one of those people who is like, comment, ring the bell. But yeah, like the video, subscribe, follow me on social medias. I'm hopeful to get the Spotify and Apple Podcasts up and running. I will be back here Monday to talk about SummerSlam, a full review of the entire show. I'm just hoping for a good show. That's really all I ask for. And that will just about do it. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend because above all else, you absolutely deserve it. All right. Bye.